My so-called life is sponsored by How's it going? I'm Godless Sewing, and this is the Godless Sewing channel. So, I'm going to show you how I make Jnco style jeans. I've made a tutorial, and I'm going to show you a quick and easy way to make your own awesome Jnco style jeans. And I am going to finally retire my Mimi G pattern R11407. I've been using the same pattern for 2 years, and it's time to branch out. So as always, strap on, wear a helmet, and let's go sewing. So it is that time of year. I'm gonna make another pair of Jnco style jeans. So the first thing I did was cut all of my side pieces. Depending on the material that you're gonna use, you're gonna need a good amount of material, but I grab another pair of jeans and completely cut along the seams on both sides and use that to measure my jeans, because there's a big difference between making Jnco style jeans, circus pants, parachute pants, harem pants. It all depends on the cut. Speaking of which, the first thing I'm gonna do is completely cut across the seam here, but I'm gonna use this piece to measure where I'm gonna cut. That way there isn't a discrepancy. So with bell bottoms, you would cut only up to the knee, or somewhere in that general area. But when it comes to Jnco style jeans, you're gonna cut almost all the way up to the pocket on both sides. That's where you get the giant flare, and that's where you get the look. So I'm gonna start cutting my sides, start putting my shapes down, start sewing, see what happens. So I've cut both sides of my jeans. I now have this beautiful flap on my jeans. I'm going to turn them inside out and start pinning the pieces to my pants. It's pretty self-explanatory, but the most difficult part is pinning your pieces in place. So let's start pinning, sewing, see what happens. So I'm completely done pinning my pants. It took a second. So now I'm going to start sewing, and then comes the spectacular part where you have Jnco style pants. So let's start sewing, see what happens. And the final step is to completely and utterly enjoy yourself. I made a few mistakes on making this particular pair of pants, but that's okay. That's what seam rippers were invented for. There's a bit of bunching at the knees, but the bottom of the pants are perfect. So I can easily fix this, and may or may not have a few other pairs of beautiful Jnco pants. And that's the thing about sewing, is that as long as you keep going, eventually you'll get it right. So when it comes to making Jnco pants, size matters. I absolutely love the dramatic look of these pants, and it brings me back to an era that doesn't exist anymore. So, like I always say, stay creative, keep sewing. So here we are. After 2 years of using the same pattern, it's time to retire Mimi G pattern R11407. 2 weeks ago, I attempted to do a tutorial for a duster, and I just wasn't feeling it. So I said, you know what? I blamed it on the heat. I said, I'll come back the next day. Then I attempted to do the tutorial in my kitchen, and it dawned on me, I have completely lost the love of making dusters because I've done it over and over and over. One of the reasons I love sewing is because of the challenge. Because I'll take on something that I may or may not have even heard of, but I grab a pattern and I'm like, hey, it's come together. I started my channel based on slow stitching, Cisco, battle vests, and I kind of morphed into hoarding sewing machines and making 50 jackets. It's time to move on. I think I've got my money's worth out of the pattern. I'm gonna show you my attempts at making a duster, but I don't think that there's a final step to this because I went out of my way to remind myself that I started this because I love what I do. And the second that love is lost, it's time to move on and find something else. I hear people always talk about their sojo. I'm moving my sojo in a different direction. So, like I always say, stay creative and keep sewing. So, I'm going to find something else. I absolutely appreciate everybody who's been with me since day one and everybody who's recently joined, because I know I'm going to say it, and I hate it when people say this. It's been a journey and it's not going to stop here. So I absolutely thank everyone, and let's move on to the next pattern. Let's start making overalls, you know? I need quite a few aprons for my job. Like I always say, stay creative, keep sewing. So I know that there's a lot of controversy when it comes to using patterns, making your own. I'm using Simplicity pattern R11407 because I absolutely love the style. So the first thing I did was pin down my pattern. The next thing I'm going to do is cut each piece out, and then I'm going to line them. So I'm going to start cutting, shaping, see what happens. So we're in my beautiful kitchen, and I'm gonna make a trench coat. I haven't decided the length necessarily, but I'm gonna use this Waverly pattern because for a while now I've been deciding what I wanted to make, but because I absolutely love this pattern, I'll wear the coat all the time. And I'm all about making things that you would actually wear in your everyday life. So I'm gonna start cutting my shapes, start sewing, and see what happens.
Bombadita, 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 happy trails to you. Bombadita, keep smiling until then. Who cares about the clouds when we're together? Just sing a song and think about sunny weather. Happy trails to you till we meet again.
Do you know what's funny? This coat came out perfect. I've really been reluctant to walk into Hobby Lobby because their religious fervor in my godless sewing patches does not necessarily match. So every time I drive past that place, it makes me kind of sad. Because of politics, I no longer go in there for fabric. And I recently found my local Joann's. I'm not going to say they're better, but they didn't give me a hard time. And look at how beautiful this coat is. I call it Cab Callaway Yellow, but this is just a beautiful print. The plaid is black and yellow. I'm not a Steelers fan, but I love how this coat came out. This is definitely something that I'm going to be wearing this winter. I know. It's the summer and I'm making coats, but it's what I do. So, like I always say, stay creative, keep sewing. Right. You know, sometimes retiring something is a good thing. It's time to move on. It's time to start branching out and getting back to why I started this channel in the first place. Hoarding sewing machines and dressing like a bag of Skittles. If you've made it this far, I thank you. And like I always say, reinforce your seams, be yourself, and I will definitely see you next time.
Hey, come on, take a ride. There's a party over there that ain't no job. It's live, it's all the way live. Don't even have to walk, don't even have to drive. Just slide, slippity slide. Just forget about the troubles in your 9 to 5 and just sail on. That's what you do, just sail on. Now the dude's so funky, hey, what do you think? What is it called? It's called a lakeside stank.